You're listening to the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. Now here's your hosts, Kevin, Derek, and Alex.
All right, I welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. I am Derek, and I am joined, as always, by your co-hosts, Kevin and Alex. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Doing good. We are Super Bowl bound. So I'm excited for the game. I really am. Like I don't necessarily have a dog in the hunt, but I like the way both teams play that are in this game, right? And I see it very similar to how Vegas does. It's going to be a tightly contested game. I think we're going to see some back and forth. We might see some drama, right? The Eagles have had a crazy, easy paper schedule to get to the Super Bowl, with the Niners going on their seventh string quarterback by now, and the Giants being a little bit overrated when it came to the top echelon of the NFC. On top of that, the Chiefs, Mahomes saying he's feeling better, which is a good thing. We know Mecole Hardman is out. Juju is coming back, but it sounds like he's going to be rather limited, right? Little tweak. Kadarius Toney has a tweak in his hamstring. He's expected to play, but at this point, no more excuses, right? This is the last game of the year. This is what these guys sign up for and what their drive is for as a professional. So everybody's going to lay it out. I'm super excited for the game. And then I'm super excited for props. Yay, gambling.
Curse the state I'm in. Literal state. Not mental state.
We'll talk offline so that way we don't get
please
in trouble here. But
don't.
Alex,
you scratch my back, and I might, toss some cheddar in a direction that you prefer.
There we go.
Alex, there's also a way that you can play, our little prop game out there.
That's true, for free. We do have that
for free. The link right there. It's like magic. It pops up.
It's
scrolling. So we're playing a game out there, and we're going to go through our prop game here later on there, but right down there at the bottom of the screen, you can see that. For those of you listening out there, you can't really see that, but it is goodoldboysff.com/super-bowl-fun-props/. So Kent couldn't do anything about the address of that website, but that's what it is. I'm sure a smarter person could have figured out a way to make that more accessible, but regardless, there it is. You can find it on the website. Good Old Boys
If you don't like it, we'll start a GoFundMe, and you guys can donate to the cause, and we will get better web addresses for our contest. How about that? Until then, quit your bitching and sign up.
I meant to edit the headline. I still had it from still Grand Poobah there for the first 3 minutes of the show. Anyways, I've been lucky enough to cover 2 Super Bowl weeks and 1 Super Bowl game. Don't ask that question, but I've been lucky, and all I can think is just how much fun everybody is having right now in Arizona. On top of
they're scaling buildings.
There's that. But on top of the Super Bowl being in town, you guys know that the craziest golf tournament on the face of the earth is going on right now. With the Waste Management Phoenix Open.
You mean the Wasted Open?
Yeah.
Yes. So my wife,
sorry,
lives out in Arizona, and was saying, I guess it was yesterday, we had this conversation, and even on Monday, her boss was saying how stinking crazy Phoenix was already. Like, it is just absolutely bonkers. There is no place to get a reservation to eat. There is no place to get a reservation to sleep. There is, hardly enough room for people to move about the streets already. Like, Phoenix is ready to party between the Waste Management golf tournament and the Super Bowl. It is a very good time to be a sports fan if you decide to take a long weekend and soak up all the activities, but your liver might hate you when you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, so as is typical for Super Bowl week, Tuesday night is the media party night, and they do it right. The 2 Super Bowls that I've been to, one in New Orleans, one in Minneapolis, they treat you well, and I just know that there will be a lot of sluggish radio hosts tomorrow. So if you're listening to your favorite radio show that's live from the Super Bowl in Arizona, they might have a little bit of a lower voice tomorrow. They might be speaking a bit slower than they normally do, because this night it's a fun night for all the media that's down there covering the Super Bowl. They take care of you pretty well. So I love the anticipation, the run up to a Super Bowl. There's so many things you can dissect and look at and break down, and and I saw a good quote from Greg Olson today, who will be on the call, as part of the Fox broadcast. And he said, realistically, we can talk storylines all you want. You can talk about, what you think is going to happen. But once you tee it off, and he said it was just like when you were playing, you whatever you thought was going to happen, once you tee it off, whatever you thought was going to happen isn't going to happen. And so it's just how you react and play by that. Who would have thought several years ago the first play of the freaking Super Bowl would have been a safety, right? Like, whatever you think is going to happen, it is a complete toss-up once the guys get out there and put it on the field, and all of the hoopla and hype surrounding it. These guys have to do so much media beforehand. It's insane. They had their opening night last night. They have, press conferences every day leading up to the game. And it's just a madhouse when it comes to this event. But when it boils down to it, it's 11 on 11, just like any other, Saturday when you were in college, any other Sunday previous to this one, or Friday night when you were in high school. Like, it does just come down to a game, and there's a lot of things that can happen throughout the course of a game. So I enjoy the lead up and run up to it, but I love the anticipation and then just the chaos that can ensue once the game starts.
Love it. Love it. Couple of comments coming in here. Jamie saying, "What's up, boys? Not much. Just getting ready to hit up some props, getting ready to hit up the game lines here." Lesson chiming in here saying, "Let's go. It's time to talk the big game." Stacks app saying this should be fun. Y'all are playing the props game again? Question mark. Yes, we are. The link will hit that up to you again. You can also find the link to it down in the description on the YouTube as well. You can find that down there in the description over there as well as the website, goodoldboysff.com. Jamie also saying the Eagles projected 26.5 in 3 similar games this year. He hit, and I think the he is Jalen Hurts, hit 271 passing and 66 rushing, 337 total yards. The Chiefs allow the 8th most passing yards to QBs and the 5th most QB rushing yards. Certainly seems like a little bit of a mismatch there in favor of the Eagles and Jalen Hurts there. But as Alex just got done saying, it is very much a case of we will see what happens when it kicks off there and all of that good stuff. Jamie asking, is there a kicker? Prop bet on DraftKings. I like Butker over 1.5 field goals, but can't find that prop.
I'm sure you can find it somewhere. Maybe not on DraftKings, but I'm sure you can find that prop bet somewhere.
Yeah, you can typically find a kicker one, and you'll see a lot of these books start really getting some bigger props going later in the week here as well, right? Like they're just now starting to really get those things turning. It seems like so. But yeah, any other thoughts? There's been several things of news happening out there, hires, coaching cycles. We had a different Pro Bowl to it. Any thoughts on any of those before we get talking Eagles and Chiefs?
I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch a lick of the Pro Bowl. And I don't know that I missed out terribly on a lot of stuff. I do like that they're trying to do something different, because we all know that a line it up and play football game for these guys is not something that they are interested in. So I like the fact that they tried to do something different with the skills competition, with the game itself being a little bit different, a flag football game. I enjoy that they're trying to do something to keep us interested in the week off that they have.
Right.
Yeah. 2 things. First, Jamie, I don't see the field goals made prop, but on FanDuel Sportsbet, Harrison Buckner does have a 7.5 point over under for total points scored. So if you like the over on the 1.5 field goals, I'm betting that 7.5 kind of falls right in there, because surely there's going to be an extra point or two in that game.
Yeah.
One would hope.
Yes, otherwise that would be that's going to completely go against what several of us are thinking are going to happen on this one. But
Jake Elliott actually has plus odds on over 7.5 points.
Okay.
Everything else is Buckner's 114 on either side, and Elliott's minus 138 on the under 7.5. So clearly they think the Eagles are scoring touchdowns, and looks like the Chiefs are kind of going either way on a mix of touchdowns and field goals.
Very well could be. Very well could be. So, Jamie, if you find that one, hit us up. Let us know on that and where you found it. So, but we get Kevin hard at work hitting some books there for you looking. So, all righty. Well, guys, any other thoughts on any of the coaching cycle, any of that going on? Are we ready just to hop in here and talk Eagles and Chiefs?
What the Colts say days, not hours, right? That's the thing that Jim Irsay came out with yesterday, I believe. Cardinals still trying to figure their business out, but Brian Flores had his second interview. They also have a couple other candidates. Did I say Flores to the Cardinals last week?
You might have. I thought Flores was heading to Minnesota.
Yeah, Flores is going to be DC.
Oh, damn it. I missed that today.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
It looks like he's going up there as the defensive coordinator. Steve Wilkes heading to the Niners as a DC. Evero heading to Carolina as a DC. I still can't believe the Broncos
let him go, right? Like, that must have been some turmoil inside the building to let him go as an up-and-coming coordinator, because he did some really good things with that Broncos defense in another year where the offense completely fell flat, right? And to have him under contract for 2 more years, either Sean Payton didn't like what he was seeing, or Evero might have asked to be released and the Broncos just granted him the request. There's got to be a story somewhere that we just haven't heard. But as a Broncos fan, I was disappointed to see him go. I was hoping he would stick around, especially after Fangio signed with the Dolphins, and it was clear that he wasn't coming to Denver to DC.
Right.
Yeah. And I think
like Dese is going to be our DC is where it seems to be leaning heavily.
And it's
the Fangio guy is
but in a Sean
like
Payton
a Belichick guy.
Team,
it's never the same as the original.
Yeah,
correct.
It's in a Sean Payton coach team, like the D coordinator does have a large role. You know, like that's it's not like, you know, your D coordinator in title only. You know, like say like a Matt Patricia with Bill Belichick, right? Like, and that's probably a bad example because Matt Patricia did, you know, kind of run that defense for a while. But like, you know, Bill Belichick was a defensive guy, and so he made sure that, you know, he was involved in those defensive meetings and plans. But like in a Sean Payton, like you basically the head coach of the defense. You have free reign to do whatever the hell you want defensively, because Sean Payton's so concerned about what's going on offensively that he needs that to be handled, right? So
I mean, there's something to that, but there's also some of this, like listening to some of his pressers and going through there, he seems far more concerned about every detail going on in the building than just a couple of things there. And that was one of the things that I was very excited about, kind of listening to that, was really hearing a head coach that is very concerned with the details and the details of the organization.
There's an adult in the room. Like there's an adult in the room.
That's what it felt like watching that, is that it felt like there's, hey, we can sit back and actually, like, not have to GM, armchair GM this thing as much.
Not have to count down the play clock every possession.
Exactly.
Every snap.
Exactly. So
I think there's a lot, and I'll be interested to see how, Peyton said that Russ's personal QB coach, you're not going to be in the building. Like, we will have our team
3. Yeah, no personal coaches, none of that crap. Like, this is Peyton's rodeo.
But I loved how he said it without saying explicitly that, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about Russ's quarterback coach and having guys not on staff being in the building and having access to players? I don't know what you're talking about. That seems foreign to me.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen here.
Good luck. That's not
Right?
going to happen under my watch.
It was something else to watch and see there. Also, a lot of him being very aware about as much of the players having a lot of social media contact over the last off season, and how that seems like that's going to drastically change there, where players will be more concerned about football than what them posting on their Instagram and tweeting about things. So that's also very refreshing here as well.
I'm wondering who he pisses off first and who gets the boot and how we get a first round draft pick next year.
Right?
Because that seems like the road we're headed down. And who knows, maybe everybody falls in line, but
well, I mean,
it's a culture shock. It's been 8 years. Yeah, it's really 8 years since they had an authoritarian as a head coach. Like Kubiak was not that authoritative. He facilitated, right? And they kind of candered to Peyton a little bit, who was that authoritarian, so they didn't have to do
you
as
didn't
much
need it
as a
coming from the
coaching
head
staff.
coach. Yeah.
Right.
But really, since John Fox and before Peyton got there, that was the last time the Broncos had like this is my way. You are going to do what I ask. Like,
I am the captain of this ship.
Yeah. And since then they haven't had it. So I'm stoked. If nothing else, I think it takes out some of the debauchery and some of the silliness that had been going on, where you just shake your head and go, are you guys even like trying to play? So it at least gives us hope, right? That's all you can ask for this time of year. And like I said last week or a couple weeks ago, like, I will save my breakup letter for now. This gives me at least a reason to tune in and want to be a part of this Broncos franchise at the moment, because good Lord, these last few seasons have been really difficult to choke down.
Well, and listen to some of the Denver radio guys here over the last few days here, as well as there's a big consensus about a lot of the kind of the beat writers and a lot of the the talking heads here in Denver, that the Sean Payton there, just him alone gets you about another 3 to 4 wins per year, just because of the in-game adjustments that he'll do as well. So that's something that hopefully we see come to fruition here as well. And we see the Broncos not drop 1-score games left, right, and center over silly things. Right.
All right. It gets us to 8. Like, can we
I don't
find
know.
2 more?
Weren't they at 10.5 when they traded for Russ? That was I'll believe it when I see it.
Well,
I'll be a little bit more pessimistic.
But for the longest time, right? 24 points. Or was 18 points, scoring 18 points a game
in regulation.
Put them at 9-1.
Mm-hmm.
Like 18 points. Sean Payton has the highest average scoring offense in his coaching tenure in the NFL, right? 27.6 points a game. If the Broncos get 2/3 of that, we're good.
Right.
And this offense arguably has more playmakers than any one of those Saints offenses had.
Cumulatively,
right? Like, the best offense they had was what? Was it?
And you had Brandon.
Was it Jimmy Graham, Michael Thomas's rookie year, or Michael Thomas's second year with Alvin Kamara, right? Like, you had that 3-headed monster. And you had Marquise Colston step up. I believe that's what it was.
You also had some years where you had Jimmy Graham and Brandon Cooks out there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
but this is complete, right? You have Sutton, Judy, Tim Patrick's coming back. You hope he can get something out of KJ Hamler. You have 2 tight ends who can play, and Dulcich, and getting Albert O more involved in this offense. On top of Williams is coming back and hopefully full speed, having a long time to recover from his knee injury.
And I think Lat Murray's coming back as well, right? He's got ties to Sean Payton and seems to.
I would hope so.
Sean Payton seems to be very high on him as well. So
I would hope so. He's a veteran back who understands what Payton's going to want to do. He is durable, right? He doesn't get nicked up a whole heck of a lot, even though he's into his 30s. And you need depth at running back, right? Like there are not NFL teams anymore that kind of sustain a workhorse running back, making it throughout the year, with the exception of what you could argue the last 2 seasons. Dalvin Cook's done a good job of staying healthy, and Derrick Henry.
Right.
Like other than that, it's a freaking rotating door. Like Joe Mixon went down. The Seahawks were a revolving door. It didn't matter who it was. The Jets were a revolving door, even with the talent that Breece Hall has. We saw
he goes down. Yeah.
The Cowboys go 2-headed, with Zeke declining and Pollard stepping up. And the 49ers used 7 different running backs this season, I think.
Just in one game.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I mean, you need it. You need depth at running back to be able to do this. You kind of have to carry 4 guys, on your roster, and 3 of them are active every single week. And if one goes down, you're pulling someone in from free agency or off the practice squad to make it up. Like you can't go short-staffed in that position.
No. So, very cool. Comment coming in. Jamie saying he took a $5 bet to win 60 if both teams score a touchdown and a field goal in the first half. Both teams score a touchdown and a field goal in the second half.
That's an interesting one.
That is an interesting prop. I don't know that I'd be on that train there. Just
for $5, why not? Yeah. I mean, it gives you something to chase.
I don't know that I would put 5 on it, but I'd throw $1 at that.
Yeah, $1 gets you 10 type of thing.
Yeah, heck, it'd be something. It keeps you invested the whole game.
Sure,
right?
Get you rooting for some different things too when you're down there instead of that's always the fun thing too when you get going and you're like, I need this to happen.
You can tell. Or the people who have the squares and they're like, come on, don't do it.
Right.
So
also shout out to everybody who got like 5 and a 2. Not your year. It's okay.
Watching the final scores 25-22.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're hoping for, right? You're hoping 25-22. Like 15's possible with these teams because every once in a while Sirianni does like to go for 2 for no real reason. Like the analytics don't even make sense.
Right.
Reed will do the same thing. Like 5 and 2 is not desirable, but it's not like doom and gloom. I'd be more upset with like 9 and 5. Like I think that one's kind of harder to get to.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, if Brett Maher was the kicker, I'd be all right with 9 because there's a good chance somebody would have gotten to 21 and 2 missed extra points. And we're good. But anyway, moving along there. All right, guys, let's go ahead and let's jump into the old matchup here. We have got the Chiefs and the Eagles squaring off here. The Eagles favored by 1.5. The over-under on this one is 50. What are your thoughts on this one?
I like the Eagles to win this game. I feel like they're slightly more of a complete team than what the Chiefs are. But I do like the under. I think we're going to see something, 47-48 as kind of the point total for this game is kind of how I'm seeing it. But the 1-score game, definitely Eagles, they're favored by 1.5. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, a 2 or 3 point game. I don't see a blowout on either side by any stretch. And it should, I guess, I don't know if it will, but it should be entertaining throughout the game. So again, looking forward to this, but I like the Eagles. I like the under by just a touch. And then I'm just going to go ahead and jump into my prop. Travis Kelce over 78.5 receiving yards in this game. I just don't know where else the Eagles receiving core is going to find, the Chiefs receiving core is going to find consistent output. Kind of the weakness of this Eagles defense has been in the middle, which allows Kelce to get some of those chunk plays, right? It's a 7-yard reception and he runs for 3 and then falls down, right? Like they run that play constantly, get open, especially in zone concepts. Kelce finds the zone, sits at 8 yards, turns upfield, gains 11 or 12 points for first down, and then moves on. So I think Travis Kelce is going to have a monster game here, over 78.5.
I like the Eagles as well in this one. So I'll take the Eagles minus the 1.5. I probably to my detriment, but I think it's more fun I like to root for points, so I'll take the over here. I just like scoring. Like, who doesn't like to see score? Especially when I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't really care who wins. I'd be happier if the Eagles won, I guess, if you made me pick. Just because I don't want to see the Chiefs win. But like, I'm just rooting for points in this one, so I'll take the over. And then the prop bet that I found, and I think it sounds crazy when you lay it out there, but realistically, it's actually going to be a bit of a challenge, I think. Miles Sanders over 5.5 receiving yards. He's got, what is it, like 3 receiving yards in the playoffs this year in all of the playoff games they've had, the 2 playoff games that they've had. So 5.5 does seem like a large number considering he's averaging 1.5 a game. But I do think that there will be opportunities for him to catch the ball out of the backfield and make some plays. So I will take Miles Sanders over 5.5 receiving yards as my player prop.
I like it. I can get down with that. One of the things that on the Friday show, Kevin and I always looked at was, finding these props that you could find a player that break that prop in one play. And this is exactly what that is, right? Like Miles Sanders could easily catch a little, a dump off type of play, and pick up 6-7 yards and call it a day there. So I like it, Alex. I like it a lot. As far as I go, I got the Eagles here as well, right? I think this is going to be a field goal type of game. I think one's going to play out something like 25-22. It's going to be an odd scoring type of deal. 24-21. Like that's really kind of where I'm seeing this one. Even 23-20. Like that's where I'm seeing this one kind of play out there. By the way, I did take out exact score matches on each one of those in case you were wondering. And odds are very good. Hit that last year with the Bengals and the Rams there. And really enjoyed my time there. So we're going to keep on that train, hoping that we hit it 2 years in a row here. But I'm going to take the Eagles. I'm going to take the under on this one. I do think that we see this thing come to a point where there's going to be 46, 47 total points, just shy of the point total. So I'm taking the under. Prop I really like on this one is Isaiah Pacheco going over 46.5 rushing yards. I think that we see him, get somewhere in the neighborhood of about 60 yards when this thing's all said and done. So 46 seems like a low number there. I think we can absolutely see him get that one over. So I like it. We got the calls, we got the props, and it's about time that we start getting into some of the prop game that we like to play. But before we do, a couple of comments coming in here. Jamie saying the squares game, going back to when we were talking Super Bowl squares there. Have you heard the new pandemic? Apparently everybody's calling them blocks. He calls them quadrangles, and people get upset by that. So just stick to what you know, man. I like it.
It flows better when you say Super Bowl squares.
Right.
Super Bowl blocks is clunky. I don't like that. Get out of here. And
you guys want to get some blocks?
Remember, it's patented, so it's big game blocks.
Yeah. Oh well, then in which case, big game blocks is better than Super Bowls. Than Super Bowl blocks. So yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You want some big game blocks here?
I don't know about the quadrangles.
that one's just a mouthful there. But
you're doing too much there, Jamie.
But props for nonetheless for bringing the thesaurus to the show tonight. I like it. He's saying our boy Robbie mentioned the official refs went 11-1 for the under in the past on this matchup here. Okay. And then Hurts targets running backs at the bottom 10 rate. So I'm skeptical on the Sanders receiving prop, but also all about Gainwell under 11.5 yards. I don't know. I think Gainwell will find his way to about 25 yards in this one. And apparently Jamie's nickname is the big game there. So there you go.
Big game blocks. All right.
Anyway. All right. So, guys, it's time to head into the old SB props game that we like to play every single year. And for everybody following along there, again, there it is scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. goodoldboysff.com/super-bowl-fun-fun-props/ you can head on over there or just go to goodoldboysff.com, click on the games and more, and you can find it under that tab there as well on the home page.
Hey,
over there. Yes.
Is that your picture on the trophy?
It could be. I do like to win cash and trophies. So It very well might be.
I was just curious. That little sliver right there. I was like, man, is that our boy Derek?
I might have slipped that in there, a little Easter egg there, but in all actuality, no, it is not. But I do appreciate the thought process there and the props there on the graphics work. I'm not that talented. All righty, so let's go ahead and let's get on into this one. We're going to hit up some fun ones here, and one that's going to start us off. The first props, the national anthem, over under 110.5 seconds on this one. So guys, what do you think on this one for some props on the national anthem?
I couldn't even tell you who's singing the national anthem.
So here's, I'll explain my over selection. If I'm correct, Chris Stapleton is singing the national anthem.
Okay.
And that man loves to do a run, as they call it in the singing terminology. He loves to just do a run. Now, while I think that he will respect this song and will do a damn fine job singing it, I do think that he is going to have himself a few runs that are going to add some time. Plus, I anticipate that he will bring his own guitar and won't be limited by a backing track. So if there's a backing track, the under will likely hit. But because I think he's going to be playing it on his own guitar and he likes to go on little riff runs, I'm taking the over. And I think it's going to be closer to 120 seconds.
Wow, way over. I'm going to take the under. I had the under anyway, and I didn't even know who sang it, but now I have justification for it. Country singers typically do not draw the national anthem out. They are pretty true to the origins of how the song was written. Not that that's right, wrong, or indifferent. That's just kind of what history tells us. So going off of history, I will parlay that into saying that this will be under.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that thought process there, Kevin. I do like, how much thought you put into that, Alex. I didn't know that you were a Chris Stapleton fan. I actually do follow a lot of his music, but most of his stuff, right? The progression isn't necessarily an overly complex progression, things like that. So even if he holds on to a few of these things, yeah, I think we still see this thing come in just under. You're probably in the neighborhood of about 100 and I'm going to say 106.5 seconds.
You're not going to see a 15-second Brave.
Right.
Probably not, but he could hang on one or two.
Yeah.
Although good for them for going out and getting a guy that can actually sing. I'm
flat
out can actually sing.
I'm very much looking forward to all of the entertainment this year. Rihanna, I think, will do a fun job. I'm excited to see who she brings out, but Stapleton to kick it off, I think is great.
Yeah, that's going to be a really good one there. Alrighty. And so Jamie was saying who's singing the anthem, Chris Stapleton, and he likes to call it the country boy has his own guitar, I think is what that one's saying there. No, it'll go over compared to the track. So Jamie's kind of in your line of thought process there, Alex. So we'll see. We got Kevin and I on the under, Alex on the over. Jamie, head on over to that website. I'll put it up here again for you just so you can
let it scroll.
Just let it go there. Head on over there, Jamie. Play along with us. A lot of fun. It's free to enter, free to play. Look forward to seeing your contest results come in there. Alrighty, let's go ahead over here and head to the next prop. We got the coin toss, the ever popular heads or tails. What is it going to be? Is it going to be the heads? Is it going to be the tails?
Tails.
So I knew Kevin was going to take tails. So I'm fading. I went heads. Even though in my gut, the first thing I clicked on in a form, you get to fill out heads or tails. I clicked tails and I was like, nope, heads.
Just to be contrarian.
Yep.
Nice.
Although by your contrarian, you ended up agreeing with me. So it's not really that contrarian because
I'm the contrarian.
Yeah, very much so, right? You are the contrarian at this point in the contrarian play. I'm taking the heads on this one, right? When you go up there, you always call for heads. I know Kevin say tails never fails kind of guy, but
so am I.
Yeah.
So am I.
Yeah, that's fine.
I told I'm a butt guy, so it's tails never fails.
There you go. So I like it. So Kevin going with the tails never fails. Alex and I both calling for the heads there as well. Now the next prop didn't create a graphic for it, so we're just going to rock and roll through it here. The winner of the coin toss, And Jamie's saying that all guys should call head on that one.
Right. Okay, Jamie. All right.
Okay. All right.
That's good logic. I might have to change mine.
It's a family show. It's a family show, guys. Not really, but anyway, not really, not at all, actually. As I like I'm saying that as we're going through props. Anyway, coin toss winner. What team is winning the coin toss?
I took the Eagles.
Cosign.
They're calling it, right? Or excuse me, the Chiefs are calling it. The Eagles are the home team, so the Chiefs are calling it. So I'm going with the Eagles.
Yep.
I took the Chiefs. I took the contrarian viewpoint there. So I think the Chiefs will get it, and I think the Chiefs will elect to kick and defer for the second half here. So that leads us right into the next question here. What do you think is going to be the first? I'm going to just jump into this. First play of the game. We'll go back and hit some of these other ones up here. First play of the game here. Options: run, pass, RPO. And it's first offensive called play of the game, not the result of it, but first offensive called play of the game.
Run.
I went pass.
I went with RPO, the run pass option, because I think the Eagles will have it. I think the Eagles will have it, and it'll be a run pass option on that one. So anyway, fun little trickery there. Let's go ahead and head back to the first brand of commercial. Who do you think is going to have the first commercial played on? And this is once kickoff actually happens, not pregame, not all that, but once kickoff actually happens. First commercial. Who is it going to be? What type of commercial are we getting?
I believe I filled mine in as automotive.
Oh, okay. So I went brand of Uber. I only say that because I've gotten a couple emails from Uber. They're like, "Yeah, we've already released our Super Bowl commercial." And so I'm like, "Well, it's got to be playing early. If they've released it now, they're gonna want people to see a lot of it." So I went with Uber.
Or it's going to be late, and they're afraid people are going to tune out.
That could be.
So it could be too. I went with beer. Good old fashioned. Just went with beer on that one. So Kevin's got cars. I've got beer. Alex took Uber.
What was it? Was it 2 years ago or last year where it was crypto? Yeah, no one called it. It was like,
right.
Oh crap!
I think it was 2 years ago, and last year I think was like an environmental deal or something like that.
Yeah. There will be something interesting this year. As I saw, Anheuser-Busch has ended its exclusivity deal with the Super Bowl. So there will be other alcoholic brands that will be advertised during the Super Bowl this year. So that'll be interesting.
The stat that I did not see leading up to the Super Bowl this year is how much was a 30-second ad spot for this year's Super Bowl?
I didn't see that either.
I don't know. I'm sure.
The only reason that I just thought of that was the Super Bowl last year, right, with it being in LA, was astronomical to the point that a lot of these companies are pulling back, and the commercials have suffered because it's costing them so much to even get on the air.
Yeah, man. Then think about
$7 million.
And you think about the amount of money it takes for the production costs to pay your talent, and then $7 million for 30 seconds. Come on.
By the way, in case you were curious, the ad back in 1972 only cost $88,000.
Stupid inflation. All right, let's move on.
All righty, let's hit up the next one. Let's hit up the next one. We're moving along. Gatorade color. What is the color of the Gatorade, and specifically, what color is the Gatorade bath?
Yeller.
Okay, so I actually went and looked this up because I wanted to see what colors have been popular, right? The last time the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, they did not do red Gatorade. In fact, they had orange Gatorade. That was I guess the only time they won the Super Bowl. The last time and the only time the Eagles have won the Super Bowl, it was yellow, which you would thought, oh, maybe it would be green Gatorade, but I don't know. I don't know why I picked this because I think the Eagles win, but I've gone with orange, which is the most popular.
Right. And leave it to you. Like this is one of the things that I thoroughly enjoy about you, Alex.
Unreasonable amount of time researching. You guys tune in week and week out, and I am talking out of my backside when it comes to fantasy football. I'll freely admit that. But I know my shit when it comes to Super Bowl props.
That's the so I liked it. I liked it a lot. I
like orange Gatorade, so
yeah,
that's why I picked yellow. I don't think it's blue, right? Like I didn't think it's
I don't think it's blue either.
I don't think
Guess
it's
what
red
I
because I
picked?
think the Eagles are going to win. So I had to go with yellow because that was what made sense in my head.
I actually took blue. I went off the beaten path here, and I'm going
Ooh.
blue. I'm
the
going
best
Blue
blue.
was what it
flavor.
was when the Rams won. I know too much about the Gatorade color.
That's why I'm just letting you roll with it. I like it. Jamie saying green because the Eagles gonna win and they colors green.
There you
They
go.
didn't do green last time. They did yellow, Jamie. Get with the program.
Yeah, leave it up to Alex to have all of the answers on what color.
Gatorade
Yeah,
bath, right?
This is one of those that next time we do this one, I'm gonna be like, all right, Alex, what was the Gatorade bath in 1984?
I did have to look that up. I did have to look it up, and thank God there's a website for everything these days. So
I love it. All right, so we I was going to say the winner, right? Call your winner on this one, but very clear when we already picked our against the spreads and all that, we all took the Eagles earlier on that one, and the Eagles are favored. So, not so much to mystery left to be on that one.
no.
What color mixes well with green?
What?
What color mixes well with green is the question. And he says yellow.
Yeah. That's right.
I feel like we've got like a color joke going on there. Yeah.
How about we go
blue
to
and yellow make green? That's just
Oh.
standard. That's just standard color mixtures.
Fair enough. There we go. I apparently forgot my color wheel from elementary school there. My bad. Anyway, the over-under, we also called that one as well. We already went through the props on there. Next one, we got anytime tutty. Make a call for an anytime touchdown.
Oh, that wasn't on the dock.
Travis Kelce.
Give me Kelce. Yeah.
Yeah, Kelce was mine as well there. So, all right. Well, we'll move along there with not much separation.
If I need to pivot, I'll gladly take AJ Brown, and if I need to pivot again, I'll take Dallas Goedert.
Fair enough. All righty, I like it. Kevin with pivots all over the place there. And then who's ahead after the first quarter?
I took Ty.
Oh,
okay. The push.
That was
push in the
that
first
was
quarter.
very, very tempting. But I took Chiefs. I think they scripted out really well. I like the Chiefs to play their script really well.
I think the Chiefs as well, right? The way I kind of see this one coming through is see the Eagles end up scoring on that first, right? They're going to get the first possession. I think they take it down there, score. The Chiefs answer. Eagles punt. Chiefs kick a field goal right there before the end of the first quarter to take a 10-7 lead on that one. But that's kind of how I have that one scripted. But yeah, I took the Chiefs as well. Alex, team ahead at the end of the second quarter.
I said the Chiefs.
Eagles.
I also took the Eagles. I think they come roaring back and we see a 10-14. Hopefully that's on your blocks or squares, 10-14. That's what I see it going into the halftime there. So, all righty. First coach to actually, you know what? We've got a graphic on this one. Hang on here. We're getting there. First coach to throw the challenge flag.
That's a great picture of Andy Reid.
That's awesome. That's awesome. If you're just listening to the podcast, now you officially have to tune in to stream the video because that picture of Andy Reid is awesome. And I'll even timestamp it for y'all. We are at 44 minutes and 20 seconds as I'm saying this. So back up a little bit before then, and then you'll see it. Derek just put it up again. But that's a great picture of Andy Reid, man.
That's fantastic.
So I have Sirianni. I have Sirianni throwing the first challenge flag.
I have gone with no challenges in this game.
Ooh.
That is a spicy meatball.
I think that's plus odds.
Yeah, probably.
I've gone with no challenges.
Okay.
Probably. I took Andy Reid on that one with a graphic like that. How could you not?
Right. I like these. We're across the board. Someone's bound to win.
Exactly. And then Jamie saying Reed throwing the first flag. So it's because of the picture, isn't it, Jamie? You saw that and you went, yep, I have to go that route. Alrighty. Let's go ahead here and see first.
You know which one we missed?
Huh?
Number of times the Kelsey brothers are mentioned. Like as brothers. God.
Oh, the limit does not exist.
Right. I don't have enough tallies to go through and count that all game long. It would have been over under 100, and I think the over clears before halftime.
I think once they get in the game, it settles down. But I'd settle at like 9.5. I think this Fox it'd probably be pretty sound.
Probably. Yeah, I think this Fox crew, especially since they won't be on the field at the same time, like this Fox crew, they'll mention it. They'll make sure that the layman is aware of it. Right. You know, it's a good human interest story.
How many? The real question too is how many times do we see them
Mama
panning
Kelsey.
over, to Mama Kelsey in the stands there and talking about how
I bet you if this game is a nail biter down at the end, Mama Kelsey's getting a lot of FaceTime.
Exactly right. Like Jamie saying that the some spicy hot sauce on the no flags call there, Alex.
Right, it is.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
You need to find a parlay with that, man. You'll get some great odds.
I think after the debacle that was the AFC Championship game, I think the Eye in the Sky has a bit more of a prominent role than previous. So I think that whatever you think might have been missed will be further discussed by the officials on the field, and the call will be corrected.
Maybe we'll actually see some holds get called, some holding penalties called there at the end.
You can't challenge a hold, but
true. That's also true. Very true. All right, we're gonna head into the next one that I got a graphic for. First reception of the game. Who are you taking? It's hard not to go with the Dallas Goedert with him doing the finger guns there.
Right.
Wait. I took this and then I realized I didn't know I'm not sure that he was playing, but I'm guessing he is. So I've gone with MVS. He's playing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've gone MVS.
So
because I think
you have the Eagles winning the kick.
No, I have the Eagles winning the toss and deferring. Chiefs get the ball first.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I've got the Chiefs winning the toss and and then deferring and the Eagles getting the ball first.
All right. Well, I'm going to take the Eagles getting the ball first after they win the toss.
Oh.
And put some pressure on Patty. I'm going to say AJ Brown. They're going to try and get him involved early and often in this game.
Gotcha. I'm going to say Devontae Smith is the first reception of the game there. So Kevin and I both with some Eagles players there. Let's go ahead and head on over to, I just saw that one. Ready to go. Oh, it was first player. Where'd it go? Okay, first score of the game. Are you looking field goal, touchdown, safety?
Field goal.
I've gone touchdown.
I've also gone touchdown as well. Jersey player of the first player to score a touchdown, is it odd or even?
Odd.
Odd should be what I picked. I picked even.
I also went with odd.
The right thing. I think 87's got a real good shot of being a number there.
You very well could be right there.
But if it's Dallas Goedert, he wears 86, so I got that going for me. I guess.
There you go. I mean, Devonta Smith wears number 6. Yeah,
there we go.
I think Miles Sanders is an even number there as well.
22.
22 or 26?
I think it's 22. I think it's 22.
No, he's 26. Gainwell is 22.
There you go.
Whatever.
So you got all sorts of
lots of evens on the Eagles. Not so many.
Maybe say
yeah, right.
Good odds.
So that's what I'm going with.
Plus money.
That's why I took MVS, is because I think all these teams are going to be so hyper focused, especially early on the big guns. Don't get beat by the big guy. I feel somebody leaks out and they get the first, just whatever options available.
Right. I haven't heard you boys talk about Goddard props much. Goddard's over 47.5 receiving yards, has the third most yards after the catch for tight ends and the most yards after the catch per target. I mean, he very well could, but again, right, he's the third option on this team for targets, right? Like it goes AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, then Dallas Goedert. So
I like Goddard going over 5 for 56.
Yeah, and I could see it. I said third target there. Chief linebackers allowed 92% catch rate to tight ends. Goddard size advantage over 20 pounds. All linebackers. Yeah, he certainly is a mismatch there, and he could certainly be one of the difference makers for a Eagles win there. But
yeah. I think Goddard's early, right? I think Goddard's how Hurts settles into the game, and then we see his production fade as the Eagles kind of do some more things and get the safeties brought up with the RPO and the run action and maybe Hurts scrambling around a little bit, right? Get those safeties to cheat up, and then you're going to see Smith and AJ Brown a lot more often, as they're not going to face as much double coverage as they will probably in the first quarter, right? Game of adjustments. But Goddard to start with, I think most of his production comes in the first half.
Right. All righty. Who you calling for the team to be ahead after the third quarter?
Eagles.
I've got the Eagles as well.
I've gone with a tie. I think the Eagles make their comeback in the third quarter because I had the Chiefs leading at halftime. So
I like that. Game tied going into the fourth. That's what good Super Bowl scripts are made of. I like that.
Everybody likes that, right? Like,
right.
Unless you're a fan of the team that has given up the lead as the Super Bowl is tied into the fourth quarter.
Right. Is there a score in the last 2 minutes?
Yes.
I said yes.
I also said yes.
I like excitement.
I think this one's going to come down to who has the ball last. Kicks field goal to win it. Last team to punt. Who you got?
Eagles.
I've also gone Eagles.
I've gone Chiefs. The other option is no punts there, which could.
It's possible.
It is
these
possible.
2 teams, that's possible.
Right, but an entire game without a single punt, that's something else.
That's some hot sauce right there, as Jamie would say. So
that's a recipe for the over, is what that is.
Yes. Yes, unless every one of those things is a field goal.
Yeah, 9-minute long possession.
Right. Will there be an onside kick attempted?
I said yes.
I said no.
So did I. Said no as well.
I think these teams clock manage.
Do you remember, what was it, the Saints Colts Super Bowl? They came out and started the second half and did an onside kick.
Yeah, it's the Saints Colts game.
Yeah.
The Saints did it.
Yeah. That was a fun one.
Spelled
Sean Payton.
Spelled the end of Peyton Manning era in Indianapolis.
Sure did.
Yep.
Much obliged, Sean. Much obliged.
Right.
Ooh, I like that bet.
Right.
That's fun.
That is.
I hadn't seen that one. I like that.
So Jamie's saying that he saw something on DraftKings at the last play of the game not being a kneel down. That could be a lot. That is a fun one. That's one to root for right there, where you've got a game that's that closely contested.
Heck yeah, field goal. Yeah, field goal as time expires, or a Hail Mary shot, or something.
Hail Mary
like
shot.
Yeah. I like that.
Right.
Or wild backyard football type.
I hate those.
I do too.
They always end up in a touchdown.
Never seen such a group of athletes look like retarded baby giraffes as the scramble play at the end of the game, just lateraling back 10 yards at a time.
Highest scoring half.
Number 2.
Yeah, I pick the second half. Teams usually just feel each other out too much in the first half to figure out.
I would be interested to see the last Super Bowl that had the highest scoring first half. And I haven't done any homework on this. I'm just speaking out loud, but that would be interesting because I feel like the general consensus is always the second half for Alex's reason, right? The first half, you kind of feel each other out, body blows. In the second half, then you're coming with haymakers, right? You're coming with some scripted deep shot plays, maybe a trick play or something, trying to catch the defense off guard, a fake punt, something like that. Like it'd be interesting to figure out when the last Super Bowl was that had a high scoring first half.
So the the teams, I think the way that a lot of these teams play it is that in the first half, you're trying not to lose the game, right? You're just trying to maintain, figure out what the other team is doing. You don't want to lose the game in the first half, which could very easily happen. You go out there and
Ask the Broncos.
Throw 3 picks and those convert to 3 touchdowns, and all of a sudden you're facing a big hole. So you're just trying to not lose the game in the first half. And I think in the second half, attention turns to winning the game. And that's when you start to see plays being made, risks being taken. So that's why I like the second half.
All righty. Player with the most receiving yards.
Said Travis Kelce.
I said Travis Kelce too. I think he's the only player in this game that breaks 100 yards receiving.
Yeah.
I took Devonta Smith for the contrarian play.
There you go.
So, like it.
Here's something for you.
Yep.
So the Chiefs DVOA against the opposing team's number 1 receiver allows an average of 81.5 yards per game. Against the number 2 receiver, the Chiefs only allow 56.4 yards. Just something random.
I like it. I like it a lot. Player with the most rushing yards.
I've gone with Sanders.
I took Jalen Hurts as the contrarian play.
Ooh, that's actually a good call too. I like that.
I took Pacheco. So I like it. Will there be a quarterback that has over 284.5 passing yards?
Yes.
Yeah.
I took the under. I'm going to say no. I think Patty Mahomes is somewhere in like the 274 range, 277 range. And I don't think Jalen tops the 250 range. I think that's about where he.
Yeah, I was going to say 240. Yeah, 240 for Hurts and Mahomes. I was thinking kind of right at 300.
Right. Patrick Mahomes over under set like 194.5, I believe, but
194?
Or I'm sorry, 294.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 294 is what it's set at on that one. I see the under coming to play on that one, but we have seen crazier things happen there. I think the Eagles' pass rush is something unlike what the Chiefs have come up against much this season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we see a little bit of that come through, right? We already talked the spread on that. Here's one for Jamie right here for the props. Number of field goals, over, under 3.5. And field goals combined for both teams.
Oof.
I've taken the under.
I'm going to take the under too.
I also took the under.
I don't like.
I think these two coaches understand that field goals. I think that these two defenses will see field goals as wins, and those will be momentum changers. So I think we're going to see a few risks being taken in areas where you likely could have kicked a field goal. That I think, and I don't think anybody's going to settle for a field goal, especially not in the second half.
That's part of the reason too that I think we see the under come to play on that is, we see these coaches go a little bit more aggressive, things like that, and they don't necessarily take the points when you see them, and those types of little chips can change that pretty drastically there. Jamie saying Philly doesn't allow much for tight ends, but it's Kelce, so he sees Kelce at 87 total yards, and that's more than Philly allows. And then we opened the show with this one here as well. So he's liking Hurts there for a good overall game there. All righty, guys. So last question here on the props. Who's the MVP of the game?
Jalen Hurts.
That's what I've gone with. Jalen Hurts.
Yep. That's a three-peat for all of us there thinking that Jalen Hurts will get it. I think Jamie's onto something with that with those stats there where we could very easily see Jalen Hurts still end up with over 300 total yards in this game here. So Jamie also saying Hurt for MVP as well. So scary when everybody's agreeing on those. Makes me want to go run and play contrarian play. All righty. So that's going to That's gonna kind of wrap up our Super Bowl prop game there. Again, head over to the website, fill that out, and you can rock and roll and play alongside with us as well. Again, right? It's all for entertainment, all for funsies, all that good stuff there as well. Any other thoughts? Any other comments you want to make on any of the props?
No, it'll be fun, right? Like this is the fun stuff. You throw a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. No one. I shouldn't say no one. The average person is not, making a fortune off the prop bets, but it is fun for all the possible outcomes and the differences that you see as the game kind of flows throughout.
All righty. I like it. All right, guys. And so that brings us to our debate for the night. And since we are headed into big game weekend here, what is the best Super Bowl? It could be from any way that you want to view it. Most entertaining, best football being played on there, whatever floats your boat as far as what you want to defend as the best Super Bowl ever. Kevin, I see that you have yours written down here. If you want to go ahead and kick it off for us.
So I'm gonna say it's Super Bowl 43 with the Steelers Cardinals. That was the game with the Plexico toe tap, right? The interception return against Kurt Warner. Great back and forth game that was really tightly contested throughout between Ben Roethlisberger and Kurt Warner. And I just the dramatics, the big plays, all the stars showed out for that game. Like you didn't really see a stinker in the group as far as the moment being too big for any of those players. Larry Fitzgerald played out of his mind, but it just wasn't quite enough as the Steelers were able to squeeze that one out at the end for a 27-23 victory. But, man, that was one heck of a game to watch.
Yeah, that one was a really, really good one. And that one was one that I was certainly kind of keeping an eye on. And it was one that I was going back and forth through on some of these things, seeing if, when I was trying to make my decision on that one. But one of the things that I really like when it comes to matches and comes to great games and watching them and all of that comes down to comebacks, come down to things that go down to the very last moment on these things, right? So there's been a few games out there that have been decided on the very last play of the game. Any of the Adam Vinatieri, kick it through the uprights and win the Super Bowl type of things have that moment to it. The Seahawks and the Patriots interception at the 1 yard line. Should have run it in with Marshawn Lynch type of thing. Scott Norwood going wide right, losing the Bills, one of their opportunities to win one of those things there right at the end. Jamie just put one in the comments that's down there as well. I'm going to not hit that one in case Alex has got that one when he comes back here. But mine comes down to Super Bowl 34, the Rams and the Titans. And, the greatest show on turf there, right? The Kurt Warner-led Rams coming out. And really, we thought we were going to get a bit of a snoozer on this one. They got up early. The Rams made this big comeback towards the end, picking up 16 unanswered points there, and they're driving down the field. Steve McNair dropping back, being that guy that you just can't bring down. He's got guys hanging on to him, and he's still just making plays, getting outside the pocket, doing remarkable things there. And it comes down to the last play where Dyson comes in, going through, comes up 1 yard short to lose the game. And that one there, watching that, I really thought that he was going to find a way to get in there and get into the end zone to tie this thing up. And we see the first Super Bowl head to overtime, but it was not meant to be. And they come up 1 yard short, but that was one that was a really just fun, kind of a snoozer to start that thing off. But in that second half, man, was that a lot of fun to watch that and see that one come to play. Jamie saying the Brady versus Atlanta, the 23-8, or 28-3 comeback there. And
all right, so here that it made me laugh because I instantly had a rabbit hole to go down to. I don't know how many people follow Matt Ryan and kind of what his thought process is about the rest of his career and everything else, but he made a joke right after Tom Brady retired. It was a day after or something like that. He said, well, I was going to retire, but Brady beat me to it. So now I guess I might have to wait till March 28th to do it. And just to kind of wait and see, or he said, wait until March 28th and then embrace the memes is what he said. And I thought that was like, that showed some humility, right? Some good character, a sense of humor about the whole thing, because Matt Ryan will forever be tied to that, being the quarterback of the Falcons. But how funny would that be? Like, I'm going to retire on 328. Oh, by the way, yeah, that's the score I had him up by.
Right. Yeah. That was that's another really good one out there as well. We'll see if Alex is getting a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll see if he pops back in here and goes through there. Yeah. But
there's been some good ones, right? I think the Giants Pats game with the helmet catch, right? Like a lot of people consider that one of the greatest Super Bowls because that Patriots team was going for, 19-0, right? That was the thing. They were
trying to match the 72 Dolphins.
And the Giants kind of took that away from them. So a lot of people like that one. The Philly Patriots game, right? The Philly special 5 years ago, that one's highly rated and up there across different sites who kind of rank some Super Bowls. So we really have seen some great matchups. And I think that this year has the potential of being up there as well, with both of these teams being so efficient and just dominant on the offensive side. It's going to be which defense can make the right play. And that's probably going to win the game for their team.
Right.
Well, we had Alex for a second.
That darn Wi-Fi's.
I know.
So, but what were some other ones that kind of made the list for you here that were in contention for you?
I think I listed off some of them. One of my favorite Super Bowls, and this is because it's the first Super Bowl that I remember as a child, like really grasping onto, was Super Bowl 30 with the Steelers and Cowboys. So that game will always be something, kind of special to me because it is the first Super Bowl that I vividly remember where I was, what I was doing, who I was watching it with, that type of thing. So, that one will always hold a special place. How can you forget the Broncos Packers Super Bowl, right? This one's for John, type of thing with the helicopter, run there in the fourth quarter and the Broncos using their dominant offensive line to just wear down the Green Bay Packers and holding off Brett Favre. And his chance to repeat. I think that one's always a cool one. And really, it was a snoozer of a game, but I'm a Manning fan. So Manning's first Super Bowl, right? That's another one that I will always remember. Like, so for little reasons, it's not necessarily how good the game was, but I think everybody has some of those, right? Where you like a game, whether it was a great game or not, just because you have a tie to it in some way, shape, or form. And that's how you remember nostalgically, right, your childhood or just an event of a past with friends or family or something like that. So, the list can go on, and it wouldn't surprise me that if you selected probably 500 people, you'd touch every single Super Bowl in one way, shape, or form, as long as you caught the right, across all age demographics. Anybody 20 and 25 and younger, obviously you're going to miss a lot
half of them.
Yeah, half of them, right? But you start getting into our grandparents' age, right? And people who are 75, 80 years old and remember those, like, they'll tell you Super Bowl III was one of the greatest games that no one ever talks about anymore, because people in not even our generation, but even younger than us, right? People who are in their late 20s to 30 and lower, they don't remember. They don't know anything about Super Bowl III other than it's Joe Namath's guarantee. Like, they couldn't tell you any of the history about that game.
Well, and a lot of folks don't really, don't take a look at that from a standpoint that really it took the Jets having to win that thing to really kind of solidify these two competing conferences and kind of leagues at that point, almost to bring this thing together to have what we have now.
Right.
So, Alex, you look stable. You look back, my friend.
I apologize. I was dealing with some internet issues, so I missed a bulk of this discussion. I did catch snippets, and then I had to change from my computer to my phone so that we could finish this discussion off. So if I'm repeating anything,
no, this is all your opinion, man. What is?
But I did catch the very end of there, Kevin, and I will say that the personal there, I have a personal favorite versus what I think is the best, and to add to the point that Derek was saying, I haven't been alive for all of the Super Bowls. So I'm going to say the best Super Bowl based on ones that I've, watched or witnessed. And so for me, the best one that there was Super Bowl 52. And that was the Eagles Patriots. The Eagles win. There was so much in that. The Philly special, right? Which was like the most well-documented play call of modern football when Nick Foles goes over to Doug Peterson. It's 4th and goal from the 2-yard line. And Nick Foles, he's like, hey, what do you like here? And Nick Foles says, how about Philly? And you can kind of see Doug Peterson kind of look at him and go, yeah, let's do it. It's the Super Bowl. Why don't we run a end around tight end pass back to the quarterback? Sure. When we're, only playing the greatest quarterback of all time in the Super Bowl. And then on the flip side of that, there was the drop pass by Tom Brady, right? When they tried to run that play and Brady dropped that pass, which created the great, meme picture of the Lombardi trophy just escaping Tom Brady's hands. There was a Hail Mary at the end that you didn't know if it was going to, if Gronk was going to come down with that one. And there was a lot of points. And that's what I liked about that. That was 41-33. I mean, there's 74 points scored in that Super Bowl. So that was a lot of fun. And as a caveat, I witnessed that one in person. So a little partial, I guess. I did have some honorable mentions that I wanted to go through because I do think that there have been plenty of really great Super Bowl games, especially how, obviously there's only been, 56 of these now? We're on 57, right?
Correct.
So I think we've been spoiled with some really, really good football games. And why shouldn't we? Super Bowl 34, which I think was on the list, right? The Rams-Titans game.
Yep.
I was rooting for the Titans hard in that game. And just to come up a yard short, like that was a crazy finish to that game. So I really like that one. The Super Bowl 49, which was the Patriots over the Seahawks. The inconceivable call at the goal line when you have Marshawn Lynch. Why do you run it? Instead, Darius Butler became a household name in more than just the New England area. So that one was really good. Super Bowl 51. A lot of these involve the Patriots. Damn, Tom Brady is super good.
I purposely didn't pick one with Tom Brady.
Super Bowl 51. That was the 28-3. I don't know how much is left of that. And it went to overtime. So that was the first time we'd seen overtime in a Super Bowl. That was really cool. And I did, when I wrote this down, I said, I appreciate it now. I appreciate it now more than I did when it happened. And that's because at the time I had Patriot fatigue, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Patriots were in virtually every Super Bowl. They were in every AFC championship game. And it just got old because my team had to get through them. And so there was a lot of, partiality there because the Patriots were so good and they were just always there and a thorn in our side as Broncos fans. And, it was just the gold standard. So I appreciate it a lot more now, especially that I guess he's retired, according to his Instagram video on the beach. But I'm so thankful that I was able to witness that guy play quarterback and just see it in person, either, in person on TV, just to be able to think it and watch that. And I think it's a lot of times how, you hear your grandparents talk about, what Joe Namath was like as a football player. People that are a little bit older than us that got to see Joe Montana when he was in his prime and talk about how he played the game. And nobody won the game quite like Tom Brady did. So I appreciate the fact that team never gave up. They came back. They won it. Don't get me wrong. I was equally as happy when Eli Manning and the Giants beat the Patriots in that Super Bowl with the helmet catch and all that. So, but I appreciate how flipping good Tom Brady was at playing quarterback, man. Like, he's just so good. But then my personal favorite, and this goes to the point that Kevin was making earlier that I caught the tail end of, Super Bowl 32. And that was when the Broncos beat the Packers. It was the Broncos' first Super Bowl. I was 9 years old in 1998 when that game was played. And I got my first Broncos jersey as a Rod Smith. I still have it to this day. It's a Rod Smith. I love the road whites that they had. They had just gotten the new uniform, the new logo, the new template that is still in place to today. They've made some tweaks, but that logo has been around for 25 years now. And so watching that game, I remember I was at my buddy's house. We watched that game, and watching John Elway helicopter into, near the goal line. Like, he was putting it all on the line, and I didn't understand because John Elway was the quarterback of the Broncos. Little did I know that I would be in for Heartbreak City when it came to quarterbacks for the Broncos after that man retired. And we had to wait until another, first ballot Hall of Famer came waltzing in for us to get another Super Bowl after Elway got us two. But that was the game that really got me interested in football. I don't ever remember being a football fan before that Super Bowl, and just watching that game and appreciating what the game was. I didn't play football, growing up. I wasn't into that. So but that was the game that sparked my interest. So personal favorite, Super Bowl 32, when the Broncos beat the Packers. But the best one, in my opinion, was Super Bowl 52.
Absolutely. So if you have any thoughts out there as far as your favorite, hit us up on the socials. Let us know which one you like the best. A couple of comments coming in here as well. Jamie saying that Boston Scott, for the back to some of those props, over 7.5 rushing yards. He hit that in the first half, the last two games. We'll see 3 to 5 attempts in the Super Bowl, averaging 4 yards per carry, running behind the third best run blocking in the NFL, and calling his deep dive shot on that one. And then he brought up Fran Tarkelson for the quarterback when you were talking about John Elway going to Peyton Manning there. So the Fran Tarkelson makes an appearance.
Vikings fans have had it so rough. And I got to live that for the 6 years that I lived in Vikings territory up there in the Great White North. And man, it would be one thing. I understand the Vikings have been just bad, but it's all the rest of their teams too. All of the Minnesota pro sports teams have just been let down city for them. That they love Minnesotans love a Minnesotan team. They are diehards. They are great fans. Man, do those teams break their hearts. Those people, they're such salt of the earth people. They deserve so much better than what they get from their professional sports teams.
Jamie saying Fran Tarkelton was the original Mike Vick / Hurts there.
Yeah, he really was.
Do you guys remember? I was talking with a coworker about this. Do you guys remember that NFL quarterback club game that was on? It was on Sega. It might have been on a few other, but it had the QB skills challenge that you could do. And I just remember Randall Cunningham was just a cheat code in that game. Yes. And then you go back and watch video of Randall Cunningham. You're like, holy crap, he was a cheat code in real life. Randall Cunningham was out there doing stuff that should not have been possible in this league. And I think really he was the guy that really paved the way for this, the Mike Vick types, the mobile running quarterback. I mean, that was in a league where, your running back got the ball 40 times. You weren't really passing it. And it's holy crap, you actually can use this quarterback to run the football on occasion and be good at it.
Right. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's going to take us down here to the end of it. Any final thoughts out there for the viewers and listeners?
Enjoy the game.
Enjoy the game. Thank you for tuning in with us this football season. Next week we turn the page and we're on to the 2023 season. But it's been a fun ride. We appreciate y'all tuning in, your questions, your comments, the feedback. So, thank you. And as always, please like and subscribe. We appreciate every single one we get.
Alex, any final thoughts there?
No, apologies for the internet issues there. I wish I could have joined that discussion a little bit more, but we got it figured out.
We got it all figured out. Lots of fun. All right. So yeah, Kevin already mentioned it. Make sure that you hit that up and get over there to YouTube. Click the subscribe button. Best way to support this independent podcast is through the YouTube, clicking that subscribe button. You can find us on all those socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, at Good Old Boys FF. That's going to do it for us. He's Kevin. He's Alex. I'm Derek. Have a good one. Be safe. Toodaloos.